Everybody's gone crazy. Where have all the dreamers gone? Or have we all just gotten lazy? Something's got to give. There won't be much life left to live. Please send a sign from up above. And if I gotta choose, I choose love. I choose love. I choose love. No one's gonna make me hate. I choose love. I choose love. No one's gonna take that away. Ooh, something strange is in the air. Seems that everybody's changing, and I can't find no faith anywhere. Seems it's been replaced with raging. Something's got to give. There won't be much life left to live. Please send a sign from up above. And if I gotta choose, I choose love. I choose love. I choose love. No one's gonna make me hate. I choose love. I choose love. No one's gonna take that away. No one can take that from me. I see what I choose to see. Reality is what you make it. So why would I ever choose hatred? I choose love. I choose love. No one's gonna make me hate. I choose love. I choose love. No one's gonna take that away. I choose love. I choose love. No one's gonna make me hate.
Welcome to the Progressive Action TV show. Yes, we're going to discuss the issues as usual. For those who don't know, my name is Tremel Thompson, and just in case you didn't get the message, sold not for sale. If you was looking to purchase, sold is not for sale. I'm sorry to tell you that. I bet your favorite union rep can't say that though. But we got a lot to discuss. I don't want to waste too much time. Once again, we like to start off with how to donate to the page. You could donate via Progressive Action 100. That's Cash App. You could donate via PayPal. The PayPal is Progressive Action. And you could donate via Patreon. The Patreon link is in the description on Facebook and in the description on YouTube. Make sure to utilize that. Straight into it. Cuomo pushes 145 million raid on funds dedicated to cash-strapped MTA. For those who don't know, who've been asleep for the past year, we are in a pandemic. The MTA has been crying broke, saying they don't have no money for anything. But somehow, Governor Cuomo seems to always find money to take from the MTA to give to whoever, normally to something he controls, like the state. So let's look into what that actually says, what the article actually says. The governor proposed state budget would move $160 million dedicated for subways, trains, and other elements of New York's mass transit systems into the state's general fund. That includes $145 million meant for the cash-strapped Metropolitan Transit Authority. What's funny is that Sarah Feinberg, she had a Zoom today, and Jonathan Beatrice had asked her, why do we have to wait for the feds to get hazard pay when the MTA board could vote on it and give us the hazard pay? And one thing that she said was that why should we let the federal government off the hook? why shouldn't we leave the federal government off the hook if the governor shows us that the MTA has money? Because you can't draw water from a rock. And that's what you guys try to make it seem like the MTA is a rock with no water, right? But for some reason, whenever the governor needs money, he always know how to come to the MTA, because the MTA is the governor's personal piggy bank. So all of that, you guys saying we need to wait for the feds to get hazard pay? No, the way it should work is that you guys give us what we deserve now, and you get whatever you gave us back from the federal government. Why do we have to wait from the federal government to give us hazard pay when you guys already showed us, and the governor always show us, that this agency has money, because he always seems to take money from this agency, whether we're in a pandemic or we're not in a pandemic. So that's something to think about, and that's something to examine. I don't understand, why isn't Samuelson or Utano criticizing the governor for taking money out from the MTA instead of giving us hazard pay? And the reason for that is they are friends with the governor. This union leadership is there to protect the governor's best interest instead of the members. That's something to think about. Something to think about. Now, for years, when I came on this job, I always said that the air in the subways wasn't safe. I remember my bro, Kwanzaa, he had did platform, I think at somewhere downtown on the A line, I believe. He had did platform over there, and he had came to Stillwell afterwards, and he took a piece of tissue and he stuck it up his nose, and his nose was black. The inside of his nose was black. And he was like, yo, you won't believe it. This is what the air in the subways did to my nose. And I experienced that same thing doing platform at High Street. I believe he did it at High Street too. At High Street, doing platform, and the inside of my nose after the shift was black. And I was there for 8 hours. So whatever the inside of my nose didn't catch, my lungs definitely did. Now, there was a study done, and The Guardian had actually came out with the story yesterday. And it said people should be alarmed. Air pollution in U.S. subway system stuns researchers. Now, I'm going to read a little bit of this study. Matter of fact, I could put it on the screen so you guys can read along. Let me check something out real quick. Just in case if you guys want to chime in, the numbers right there. So it says, analysis of the air sample shows that pollutants were mainly composed of iron and organic carbon, a chemical produced from the breakdown of fossil fuels or decaying plants and animals. Now, anyone who knows the decaying animals in the subway system is rodents, mainly rats. I would say raccoons. Mainly those two, raccoons and rats. So the decaying plants and animals they are talking about, especially the animals, we talking about rats and raccoons. The latter has, when inhaled, been linked to an increased risk of respiratory conditions, lung cancer, and heart disease. It is not entirely clear why pollution in subways is worse than above ground, although the open air is able to dilute and remove some of the fumes from cars and trucks, while underground stations are often poorly ventilated. I mean, that statement was pretty much it contradicted itself. You know, they don't know why underground it's an increased risk than outdoors. Underground is more enclosed. There's not the ventilation systems in the subways is not working too well, and you already know what it is. So there you go with that. The study also said that the guy who did the study, his name was Gordon. Gordon stressed that more research was needed to ascertain the exact health impact upon commuters and transit workers who spend prolonged time in the polluted stations. The researchers also plan to further explore the exact sources of pollutants, which can range from the exhaust given by diesel locomotives to dust whipped up from the remains of dead rodents. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Now, even when you dealing with the work train situation, a work train as a passenger, you standing on the platform, the work train is the yellow train that's making all the noise. It's got the fumes coming from the engine because they use diesel. And, you know, I seen people choking on the platform. I choke myself when the diesel come through the train. And that's not safe. It's not safe. I see we got callers on the line early. You know, I'm going to take a call. I'm going to take the first call right now. Caller, you're now live, 8726. You're now live on the Progressive Action TV show. What's your name and where you calling from? Caller 8726. You're now live on Progressive Action TV. I guess they ain't feel like talking. Right along. But like I said, us transit workers, and if you just tuning in, please share out the show. It's very important. Please share out the show because I'm going to go over some studies regarding transit workers that I think everyone should know. So us transit workers, we been knowing this for a very long time, especially like in my group, right? 2018, someone said, Brother Thompson, what can be done about this? How can we find out how often, if at all, filters are cleaned or replaced? Can we have air quality testing done? So this shows you that this has been on the mind of transit workers for a very long time. Now, once again, whatever the filters don't catch, our lungs will, our nose will. So this is very, very, very important. Back in 2017, I put up a post and I was talking about 205th Street station on a D train. The cleaners there, their vest is black. The cleaner's vest is black, and it's not because that they are dealing or touching, their hands is dirty and they touching their vest. It's because that there's no air ventilation at 205th Street. So we talking about not only for the cleaners on the platform, we talking about for the switchman, we talking about for the dispatcher, and we also talking about for the passengers. If you look at 205th Street, that station looks like Thriller from Michael Jackson video Thriller that they shot at Hoyt Skimmerhorn. It looks just like that. So the air quality in that station is bad. Once again, this has been on our minds for some years now. And a picture that was a part of that post was this mask that I put up. Like, I felt before this pandemic hit that we needed masks this entire time. We needed masks this whole entire time. And the masks are very important. You know, I believe the masks were very important to our everyday life. Not only this COVID stuff is new. The MTA been knew that we needed masks. Now, I got these pictures today. I got these pictures. Let me see what's going on here. I got these pictures today. Let me move this over. These trains are not being cleaned or disinfected. Look at this. This is on the 4 train. New Tech. This one also. The vents aren't being cleaned. And once again, whatever our nostrils, whatever the filters on the train is not catching, our nostrils and our lungs are catching. This is a fact. So to the riding public, it's no wonder why workers suffer from increased allergies, why we have asthma, sinus infections, chronic respiratory diseases, bronchitis, emphysema, and a shortened lifespan once we get this job, especially if you work underground. Me personally, I try to pick trains that spend a considerable amount of time above ground. I never thought that working underground was safe, especially once again when I was on probation working at High Street. After doing 8 hours on the platform, I checked my nose. My nose was black. And it's common sense. Whatever your nose don't catch, your lungs will. And since I came on this job, my allergies have gotten worse. It comes to the point now that I have to get allergy shots every single month. And it has helped. And my allergies did get better since I've been out. And that's because I'm not exposed to the elements. Now, the MTA, once again, they want to know why we take so many days off. It's because we work in very hazardous conditions. We talking about track workers. We talking about flaggers. We talking about maintainers. We talking about structure. We talking about station cleaners, conductors, train operators, traffic checkers. We spend considerable amount of time underground, and it's being proven now that working in these conditions are not safe. It's not safe. Now, this is the important part of the show that we coming up to. I'm going to go to an employee study that was done back in 2005. I want you guys to share out this live. The more of us that know about this, the better. This is how you wage a fight back. This is how you wage a fight back. I remember I did a show talking about how diesel fumes can cause cancer. People who work on work trains and around work trains. It's not safe. I'm just boggled as to why the MTA nor especially the union, why didn't they piggyback off of this study I'm about to talk about? So there was a study done back in 2005. It was called the Health Impact of Urban Mass Transportation Work in New York City. This was specifically designed for MTA workers in New York City, bus operators, maintainers, subway workers, all the above. And the study was an intense one. It touched on a lot of our job titles, which I'm going to speak about a few of these today. And I'm going to put this study out there so you guys can read it for yourself. So this study was done by the CUNY, City University of New York, Queens College, the New York Committee for Occupational Safety and Health, and Mount Sinai School of Medicine. So it's an official study. It was done under the Roger Toussaint era. Once again, I don't know why Samuelson nor Utano picked up on this study to help us get better protections at work. At least unlimited sick. We deserve unlimited sick. And hazard pay. We should have got hazard pay before the pandemic. It should have been a part of our narrative before the pandemic, but it wasn't. I don't know why. But one of the first things that I'm gonna get into is people don't understand the vibrations. Vibrations can cause injuries. I'm talking about vibrations that bus operators feel operating the bus, and train operators and conductors. This is very important. This is highly overlooked. And if you could read it. Vibration exposure occurs whenever a worker comes in contact with vibrating vehicles, machinery, or equipment. Contact with a vibration source transfers vibration energy to a person's body through a supporting system such as a seat or platform. Hand-arm vibration, also known as HAV, exposure occurs when a worker operates handheld equipment such as a chainsaw or jackhammer. Whole body vibration, WBV, exposure occurs when a worker sits or stands on a vibrating floor or seat. Risk or injury depends on intensity of the vibration, duration of exposure, and which part of the body received the vibration energy. Risk can also be affected by the frequency of the vibration. Bodily organs tend to have their own resonant frequencies. If exposure occurs at or near a resonant frequency, adverse effects may be compounded. So when we pick these long runs and people talk about seat time and cab time, you also got to look into the exposure that you may occur spending so much time on the train or on a bus or operating a jackhammer, a chainsaw, or any type of handheld equipment that vibrates. You are at risk of injury. And to explain it even further, hand-arm vibration can damage blood vessels, tendons, muscles, bones, joints, and nerves in the fingers, resulting in conditions known as white finger disease and hand-arm vibration syndrome. Symptoms include whitening of one or more fingers when exposed to cold, tingling, and loss of sensation in the fingers, pain, loss of grip strength, and cysts in fingers and wrists. Symptoms are aggravated by exposure of hands to cold temperatures. Whole body vibration can cause fatigue, insomnia, and headache during or shortly after exposure. Exposure to whole body vibration has been associated with back disorders. Hear that? Back disorders. Whole body vibration can cause acute physiologic changes, including increases in heart rate, oxygen uptake, and respiratory rate. Decreased performance has been reported in workers exposed to whole body vibration. Now, these are the titles. Transit workers exposed to hand-arm vibration include maintainers who use grinders, jackhammers, and sawzalls. Transit workers exposed to whole body vibration include bus and train operators and conductors. So what this study tells me, that if you suffer an injury, some type of back injury, you get a cyst, you get tingling or loss of sensation in your fingers, loss of grip strength, you could actually go out on workers' comp. There's a study that has been done that will show you that you got that injury on the job. I think that we get back injuries as transit workers and we just shove it to the side as that we getting old, or I'm not as young as I used to be, or I didn't work out, or this and that. No, this study shows that it could be directly related to the job, especially if you are a train operator, conductor, a maintainer, track worker, whatever the case is. The study shows that it could be directly related to the job. This is something that we must not take lightly. Something else I found in a study for train operators, conductors, and bus operators. Train operators and conductors face postural demands and suffer the effects of constant vibration. The seats, especially on older equipment, there's a lot of older equipment out there. In fact, the MTA has pulled out more older equipment. The seats on the older equipment is inadequate. They may have no back, and many require the operator to lean forward or away from the controls. The 46s, right? 32s, right? Putting strain on the trunk muscles. On some trains, the seats are smaller, which is better for female drivers, but they have no back. Men, however, are cramped in smaller seats. Some train operators just stand. To make things worse, there's only a picnic table in the crew quarters, usually with no back support. Think about Stillwell. Think about Continental. Those are the picnic seats. Think about the seats and tables that's in bus depots. A lot of them don't have no back support. They just have the bench and the table. That shows the cause us injury. Once again, there was a study done on this. I don't think you guys understand the importance of this show, but I think that you guys really need not to be selfish and share out this show. Now, newer equipment, operators can move the seat back and forth and adjust the height, but the seat hits against the housing and adjustment is limited. The dead man switch is a particular problem. In older cars, the accelerator required a lot of force. This has been improved on newer models, Even smaller muscles sometimes are exposed to excessive force. For example, when opening or closing stiff windows with a pinch grip. I've known of conductors and train operators to get injured opening and closing their cab windows. Don't be afraid to go out on workers' comp if this is the case. There was a study to back up our claim. Bus operators. In addition to the stress of keeping on schedule, sit in seats that transmit vibration to the back. Potholes, rough roads, and motor vehicle accidents are sources of back trauma. Seats are frequently not adjustable, either by design or because they are broken. Some buses are too small for the average man, so the taller man has to recline to get room. Controlling the large steering wheel can cause extreme wrist angles. Legs and feet are at risk of strain and long-term damage because of the demands on the interlock system, the angle of the pedals, and the constrained postures required by the seat layout. Workers report that all bus drivers, check this out, check out this line right here. Workers report that all bus drivers limp by the time they retire. Buses not in good repair cause more problems. Now, I'm not a bus operator, but bus operators, I'm quite sure that you can relate to this. I'm quite sure that you can relate to this. Now, I got something for every title. I got something for cleaners, station agents, every title. I think I done covered about 10 titles within these 2 pages alone. The next thing we're going to touch on is carpal tunnel syndrome. Now, this is station agents. You guys could use this. Carpal tunnel syndrome is associated with exposures experienced by bus drivers and other workers in the transit system. In particular, nerve compression and carpal tunnel syndrome have been attributed to repetitive, forceful motions experienced while bending the hand and keying. Example, the types of tasks that are required for station agents who handle Metro cards. You could go out on comp for this, for carpal tunnel syndrome. Traumatic hand injury may cause carpal tunnel syndrome. Car drivers develop symptoms after being hit from the front or rear while gripping the steering wheel. Rare impact accidents while gripping steering wheel may be associated with acute development of carpal tunnel syndrome. So bus operators, station agents, you could go out on comp for carpal tunnel syndrome. This is an official study that was done for a fact. Also for station agents, got something else for you guys. Station agents frequently experience problem with their wrists and fingers. They face postural force and physiological strain. Typically, they stay in a booth for 4 hours at a time. It could be difficult to get coverage if a restroom break is needed. Chairs provided are inadequate without backrest or proper foot support. When the chair is brought to the level of the standing window, it is too high and the agent's feet dangle. This causes compression of the leg veins and low back pain. The back and neck are strained, especially when raising the arms to the level of the keyboard. Overall, the ergonomic demands of the keyboard and the computer are extreme. This includes the lighting, which is very bright overhead. Temperatures are uneven despite air conditioning. In fact, it may be too hot on the floor and too cold everywhere else. The air conditioner behind the agent blows into the back. Once again, this was a study done. You could go out on comp if you experience any of these things. Why the union don't use this for our contract demands, once again, is beyond me. We got more coming up. This is for cleaners. This is for cleaners, for you guys. Station cleaners. Let me put it on the screen. Station cleaners. Station cleaners have heavy, awkward, and often uncomfortable work. Keeping floors clean requires extensive twisting while sweeping or mopping. Heavy trash bags are carried up and down stairs. The refuse cleaner may be the extreme example. The team consists of driver and carrier, carries about 600 bags on each shift to the street level. 3 teams now do the work once done by 5. The clothing allotment is inadequate as shoes get wet and split and do not last. Now, once again, this was a study done. How can the union agree under Samuelson and Utano? How can they agree to 1 pair of boots a year working under these conditions? I'm not sure if 3 teams now do the work once done by 5. I don't know if that increased. Maybe a station cleaner can enlighten me on that. Heavy trash bags are carried up and downstairs. We already know that happened, but definitely station cleaners. You could go out on comp. If your feet hurting or whatever the case is, you could go out on comp. Let's see what's going on with this caller. One more time. Caller 8726. You now live on the Progressive Action TV show. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, Rashid Tramel's your boy Rashid calling from the BX. What's good, baby?
What's going on, bro? What's the word?
You muted me the last time.
I what?
All right, so I want to talk to you about the hazard pay. Why do you feel we need hazard pay on a virus that has a 99.5% recovery rate? The flu kills conservatively like about 80 to 100,000 people a year. Nobody was worrying about hazard pay, in prior years.
Well, this is my stance. I believe that we deserve hazard pay way before the pandemic.
Okay, because you understand by overhyping this is causing the economy to actually implode, more businesses to go out of business, thus people not going to work, potentially putting us for layoffs. You in a sense, though.
You are a Trump supporter. Hold on. You are a Trump supporter, right?
No, I got off that train 7 to 8 months ago.
Well, your views is really Trumpish. I mean, why would you?
Nah,
why would you?
I'm off the Trump train 7, 8 months ago, man.
7, 8 months.
I'm done with Trump 7, 8 months.
This is the Rashid White, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Rashid White. You are a Trump supporter, man. You calling the show with Trump views?
No.
Yes, you are.
I'm done with Trump.
No, you're not. You can't be done with Trump. You calling the show with Trump views. You trying to say that we don't deserve hazard pay because of the pandemic?
I'm not saying you don't deserve it, but I'm just saying like overly hyping this stuff is causing businesses to actually implode. We transport those people. We're in the business of transporting people. So if people aren't going to work and if businesses are actually closing, restaurants, we're not transporting people. They're not going to be operating empty trains and empty buses. They're going to lay people off. You see the Long Island Railroad, despite the bailout that they actually got, still reduced some of their AM service, despite the money they actually got, because people aren't riding. Those people can work from home.
Bruh.
So the more and more we actually keep...
Rashid, listen.
Go ahead, Trevor.
We deserve hazard pay, right? No matter what, we don't have control. First of all, a lot of these businesses is not coming back because they figured out that it's cheaper to have people work from home than spending $1 million for rents a year, right? So a lot of the businesses is not coming back, for one. For two, transit workers.
What fueled that, though? You know what I'm saying? What fueled that?
What you mean what fueled that? What happened was the pandemic happened, right? Businesses still had to function. Some businesses folded, right? But what happened was once they seen that, hold on, the same work that could be done in the office can be done at our employee home, right? So why should we spend $80,000 a month for office space when we could pay our employees to be home and we save money for our company? So by this pandemic happening, just like with the pandemic, a lot of people lost money. A lot of people made money. A lot of people saved money. Right? It's just the nature.
The real winners is over here is the big box stores, the Amazons, the Walmarts, the Targets. They're the only real true winners in this, man. All the small mom and pops, they're not the winners in this. And like I said, a lot of those people we transport. It's not just the people going to work in terms of office buildings.
No,
it's restaurant work.
The MTA
restaurants closing in New York is never reopening again.
Rashid, the MTA won too. During this pandemic, what did they do? They expedited Omni, right? They finish Omni faster. The MTA also have workers working from home, which they probably never going to come back into the office, which means that the MTA is going to downsize office space. We had over about 150 workers die. What does that mean? That means that they won't receive a pension, right? Because now the death stipulation that the union had negotiated with the MTA expired. So that $500,000 death stipulation they will not be getting. So the MTA and the state will be saving on pensions. They will be saving on office space. They will be saving on station agents because Omni is not there for no reason, right? So this company that you're working for is going to be saving money. So we deserve hazard pay. If it's for the pandemic, we deserve it. But I believe that we deserve hazard pay before the pandemic, right? But you can't say that.
No, I agree there. I do agree. I agree with that. But in terms of the actual virus, to me, it's not worth blowing $100,000 a year over $3 to $4 an hour extra. Which is going to get taxed on the Biden now. 38%, so you're only going to really see $2 of that. That's just federal, maybe.
Bro,
so, I mean, I think it's three-dimensional here.
I see people commenting. They don't understand that you're a transit worker talking this too. He's a transit worker and he's talking this.
Well, I'm looking at the big picture. I'm not looking at right now. I'm just looking at all the businesses closing. They just have to stop getting so emotional. If they just take the emotions and stop riding with that, they can just understand what I'm actually saying. 60% of those restaurants are not reopening again. We transport a lot of those restaurant workers. I don't think guys can understand that. Guys can understand that. We transport a lot of those people.
Those restaurants is going to open back up. I could guarantee you that. They're going to open back up.
So. Yelp is saying they're not reopening.
They're going to open back up.
Yelp is saying they're not reopening.
Or something else is going to open. Another restaurant is going to open there. The city is going
to. Tourism is down. Nobody's coming to the city. Nobody's coming to the city.
It's down now. It's down now. But by the end of the year, it's going to pick back up. Now, is it going to return back to the?
You just said that it's not even feasible for office like businesses to actually pay.
No, that
$5,000.
That's what I was about to say. That's what I'm about to say. But the restaurants is going to open back up. At the very end of the day, at the very end of the day, us transit workers, we deserve hazard pay. We deserved it before the pandemic. We definitely deserve it now. We risk a lot. We kept the city moving when everything else shut down. We deserve.
I agree.
Hazard pay. At the end of the day, well, I'll tell you what. If we happen to get hazard pay, since you against hazard pay, why don't you donate your hazard pay to Progressive Action TV? How about that?
Yeah, I can.
I know, no stuttering.
No, you're looking at it one-sided. You got to think three-dimensional. If this keeps getting exacerbated more and more and more, it's already causing a lot of issues in the economy, man. I mean,
bro, I hear you.
Long Island Railroad will be affected.
Rashid, I hear you. Just give me your word live on the air. If we get hazard pay, you donate your portion of Progressive Action TV.
I can. I definitely will.
All right. Thanks for calling in. I'll speak to you later.
All right, brother. All right, man.
Y'all heard him. He got to give up his hat. If we get hazard pay, he got to donate his to Progressive Action TV. That's how we gonna handle that. Now we go continue on with going over this study. I left off at the station cleaners, track workers. I got something for you guys. Many work operations in New York City's transit system are conducted from a loft. Track workers who lay rail on elevated structures 40 feet above the street must jump from tie to tie. Ties must be 18 to 24 inches apart with no decking or fall protection. Structural maintainers, including iron workers, painters, plumbers, masons, carpenters, and tinsmiths, may work aloft on elevated tracks. Now, when you guys think that's a hazard, now, according to OSHA, we supposed to have, you see that safety netting that they have for stuff that's falling to the street from the elevated tracks in Queens and various places in the system. that netting is supposed to be there anyway. So by track workers, one false move, you could slip through a tie if you're small enough and fall to the street. I think I heard that had happened before. Not sure. But that's a hazardous condition. We deserve hazard pay. The next thing I seen, pigeon poop, aka avian feces. That's what they call it. People don't know how hazardous pigeon poop is. Histoplasmosis primarily affects the lungs. Most infected people are asymptomatic, display no symptoms, or experience symptoms that are so mild that they do not seek medical attention. Often they do not realize they are infected and are not diagnosed. If symptoms occur, they do so within a few days to 2 weeks after exposure. Histoplasmosis can appear as a mild flu-like respiratory illness with a variety of symptoms, including malaise, fever, chest pain, dry or non-productive cough, headache, loss of appetite, shortness of breath, joint and muscle pain, chills, and hoarseness. Anyone who works at Stillwell know that there's a ton of bird poop all over the place. Right before we go into the crew quarters, you can get sick because of bird poop. And you could be asymptomatic, or you can experience mild symptoms. Once again, those symptoms include flu-like respiratory illness, malaise, fever, chest pain, dry or non-productive cough, headache, loss of appetite, shortness of breath, joint and muscle pain, chills, and hoarseness. You could go out on comp because of this. You could go out on comp because of this. This is something that we must be aware of. I'm going to put this study out there so you guys can examine it. I'm going to put that out there. But what boggles my mind is, how can we have a study out there that's pro-transit worker and the administration? Let me put these people on the screen. This administration, who has been in power for the past 12 years, stand united. Why didn't they carry the torch and pick up from where Roger left off at to fight for us better contract, hazard pay? Like I said, we deserve hazard pay way before the pandemic. We deserve hazard pay way before the pandemic. This administration has allowed the MTA to slip and slide. We done went through almost every title in this company in which that shows that we work in a hazardous environment. It's insane how this administration did not fight for our rights. And no offense, but this is how I view them.
You are an idiot.
We cannot continue to elect idiots. This is an idiot move. Like, how you have the sort, like, we don't even need another study. This study is still relevant to today. This study is still relevant today. But when you cap for a governor, and I'm talking about Samuelson and Utano, when you cap for a governor, you're going to get the results that we're getting. I want to show you guys something, because I didn't forget about this picture. I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick. But they cap for a governor who do not care about transit workers. They do not care about transit workers, and they continuously cover for this governor. I want to show you guys. Oh yeah, this is going to be good. I got to show you guys this. Matter of fact, let me see. I want to show you guys this picture of what we dealing with here at Local 100 when it comes to our elected administration. I'm gonna pull these pictures up. I just want to show you we can't forget, because they are, let me see what's going on. They are our Achilles heel. They are the reason we get treated the way we get treated. They are the reason why we suffer today as transit workers. And believe it or not, by them not standing up for us transit workers, they also are not standing up for the riding public. They are only friends of Cuomo. They are not friends of this membership at all. Now look at this picture right here. Look at this picture right here. We have the administration. A lot of people who you seen in that picture. We have Earl Phillips. We have Latanya. We have Donald Yates. Super wild and subordinate Donald Yates. We have Richie Davis. We have a lot of the elected officials in this picture supporting Cuomo. How can you support Cuomo when he do us dead wrong every single time? And I'm going to bring up something that I spoke about in the beginning of the show, just in case you guys forgot. Here we go again. Utano happy. JP happy. Latanya happy. Look at the, look, you see them right there? They still there. They still supporting Governor Cuomo. Cuomo is screwing us over left and right. They are happy. Look at, do you ever see Utano smile like that? Look at JP putting on his smile. Look at Latanya. She just happy to be here. They are some Cuomo supporters. Cuomo is screwing us over. Cuomo is screwing over this membership. And it's because we have a union leadership that loves Cuomo. We're not done yet. Dead serious. Have y'all ever seen Utano smile like this from cheek to cheek? Have you ever seen Utano smile like this from cheek to cheek? Cuomo is his friend. We are not his friend. We are not his friend. We could not get hazard pay because the MTA and Cuomo is playing an old school trick, and it's called robbing Peter to pay Paul. It's an old school trick. For those who don't know, who tuned in late, this came out today. Cuomo pushes 145 million raid on funds dedicated to the cash-strapped MTA. The MTA, Cuomo, Sarah Feinberg is pulling an old school stunt, robbing Peter to pay Paul. They want to use the federal government to fund our hazard pay. They could have started making right on our hazard pay with this $145 million that Cuomo had took from the MTA to give to his friends in Albany. Once again, like Jonathan Beatrice pointed out at the Zoom today with Sarah Feinberg, why can't the MTA board vote to give us hazard pay? They have the money. It's obvious. Cuomo took $145 million from the budget. That could have went towards our hazard pay. Once again, it says the governor's proposed state budget will move $160 million dedicated for subways, trains, and other elements of New York's mass transit systems into the state's general fund. That includes $145 million meant for the cash-strapped MTA. If he can do that, they can give us hazard pay. Do not be fooled. Do not be fooled. But once again, when you have some governor, loving, sellouts. They can't wear the shirt right here. They can't wear that shirt. They can't wear sold not for sale. None of them in that picture could wear sold not for sale. They sold for cheap. They say everybody got a price. They sold for cheap. They are some sellouts. They are some sellouts. Every single last one of them are sellouts. As long as we are friends with Cuomo, we can expect nothing from the MTA. That is a promise. As long as we are friends with Cuomo, we will get nothing from the MTA. And don't think that that only applies to hourlies. That applies to supervisors, and that applies for superintendents also. Cuomo is a friend of no one. Cuomo is definitely not a friend of labor. Definitely not a friend of labor. And you see Utano there smiling like he just hit lotto or something. And these guys are so weak and soft that they are just happy to be around Cuomo. They like starstruck. You know, they get to talk to the governor because I'm convinced that you look at this picture right here. I see a whole bunch of men and women. Never was in the in crowd. Never played sports, with the exception of Witch Art. Wasn't athletic. Didn't sit at the cool table at lunch. So when they come to unions, they hold this down and their positions down because this is the only time in life that they ever was accepted in anything. This is a fact. This is a fact. These are not the cool kids. These are the same people when we look at cops and we like, oh, this cop was a cornball. This is exactly who they are. This is exactly, they are those cornballs. They were never accepted in anything. And because of that, they are selling us out. The other thing about them is that they could sell us out and they could lose this election. And they could retire the next day. You think any one of them want to go back to a bus? Go back. Only person that's in trouble is Eric. Eric got a long time left here to be selling out members. But everyone else, if they can't retire next year, they can retire 2-3 years from now. There's no balance in their top four. They top four with Tony Utano, Earl Phillips, Latanya, and Witchard have probably a combined of 300 years all together here. Probably a combined. Latanya probably got like 20 plus. I won't say 300, but Earl got about 25. Witchard got, I believe, 30. Utano got 40. So we talking about not almost 200 years of experience, but 200 years of combined of selling out the members. We have to change that. They have not one tier 6 member in their top 4. That's why they're not fighting for tier 6. It's not an priority of theirs. Is not a priority of theirs. And it's sad because we go by this mantra, an injury to one is an injury to all. That's not the case here. That's not the case here. Just today, or last night, I had some bus maintainers call me from Gleason Depot. And this is going to shock y'all. I had some bus maintainers call me from Gleason. And they told me that management was making them do COVID cleaning during a straight 8 hours. So check this out. If the bus maintainers is not maintaining the safety features on the bus, the brakes, the steering, the wheels, if they not doing that, then who is? We just seen a bus go over a bridge, and the MTA tried to make a villain out of that bus operator. And now we don't hear anything about it because we know if it's a mechanical issue, the MTA is going to sweep it up under the rug and not try to make it look like it was their fault, but it was human error, because that's their job. They have more faith in these machines and these buses and this equipment than they have us, the people who are operating this equipment. But what they're not doing, they're not maintaining these buses. So what they did was they took the maintainers, and some maintainers was like, yo, this is not our job. The bosses made them clock out. And then an article comes out in the newspaper today in the Post saying that the workers had strike. No, what the union failed to deliver is to say, if these maintainers are not maintaining these buses, then who is? If these brakes don't work on buses, that means that they could crash into a crowd of people on the sidewalk. People could get hurt. Pedestrians could get hurt crossing the street. Isn't the weather inclement outside? Didn't it snow today? Isn't it ice in the streets? I mean, this company is so backwards. It's insane. But what's even worse is the union leadership. There's no way possible that management should feel emboldened to take workers off the clock and have them substitute COVID cleaning over maintenance work, very important safety maintenance work, and be threatened with discipline. This is what we dealing with here, dealing with these reps, dealing with this administration. There's no way possible that workers from a bus depot should be calling me to figure out a situation for them, which I had no problem with, and I rectified it. But this shows you the weakness of the administration in this local. I mean, we are looking at probably some of the weakest men and women in union leadership around. They have yet to prove me wrong. You think that I don't want to be a part of a strong union? You think that I don't want to brag to my other friends and other unions and saying that our union is kicking butt? What is your union doing? You think I want to spend my free time, instead of attacking the MTA, I have to take out time to point out how weak the administration is and that we need to vote them out if we need change? All of our time should be spent on attacking the MTA. Now, the union would probably say, yeah, our time should be spent on attacking the MTA. But you want to know what? You guys are in our way of attacking the MTA. You guys refuse to shut down any type of unsafe work. In order for us to fully wage an attack on the MTA, we must get the union leadership out of the way, because the MTA, they trying to create this narrative. Oh, my colleagues, our colleagues, and this. You are not our colleagues, because y'all trying to make it seem like we friends. We not friends. Of course, once again, we would love to have a beautiful working relationship, a respectable relationship, a relationship filled with dignity and pride. Not this fake relationship that you guys is trying to create and trying to make it seem like y'all care about us. You guys do not care about this membership. You guys do not care about us as being your employees. It's all a talking point for the media. But like I said, in order for us to fully wage war against the MTA, we got to get this union leadership out of the way completely. We need new leadership at the top. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I do believe with leadership that's not kissing Cuomo butt, that's not kissing Pat Foy butt, that's not kissing Sarah Feinberg butt, will do better. I think that some of these guys probably will perform better under new leadership. But as long as we are weak at the top, we're going to be weak at the bottom. We're going to be weak at the bottom. We got to get these guys out of the way. We must get them out of the way. Once again, if you tuned in, you want to donate to the platform. If you found out that this information was useful to you, donate to the platform. You could donate via Cash App. The Cash App is Progressive Action 100. The PayPal is Progressive Action. And if you are a supporter, want to support monthly, you could donate via Patreon. And that's in the link of YouTube and in the link of Facebook. And for all those watching on YouTube, you could donate via Super Chat. Donate via Super Chat also. Thanks for tuning in to the Progressive Action TV show. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.